They believed you wouldn't make it without their betrayal. That's the harsh reality no one dares to voice. The adversary was convinced the falsehoods they circulated about you would become your tomb. They presumed if they persisted in their whispers, amplified them, and tainted them sufficiently, the world would accept their distorted version of your narrative. But now observe them concealed in silence, moving with their heads bowed, because the very tactics they employed against your reputation returned like a boomerang. And on this occasion, the impact was more profound than they ever anticipated. That is karma's nature. It doesn't seek authorization. It doesn't issue alerts. It simply appears, claims the dues, and departs, leaving the foe reeling in shock. They were certain you wouldn't endure without their treachery. That's the stark truth nobody wishes to articulate. The foe was sure the deceptions they propagated about you would serve as your coffin. They supposed if they murmured long enough, loud enough, and foul enough, the world would ingest their rendition of your saga. But now witness them retreating into quiet, advancing with their gaze lowered, because the identical ploys they used with your identity returned like a boomerang. And this time the wound was deeper than they could have conceived. That is what karma accomplishes. It doesn't request consent. It doesn't offer cautions. It merely materializes, gathers the payment, and leaves the adversary stumbling in incredulity. The atmosphere surrounding you has transformed. Do you perceive it? It's the calm following the tempest. The type of quiet where everyone is aware something transpired, yet no one wishes to speak it aloud. The foes who previously laughed the most boisterously are now the ones glancing behind them, praying no one witnesses the extent of their defeat. And you, chosen one, you are standing in that aftermath with a fortitude they never imagined you possessed. Their arms lie on the floor, their voices have fractured, and abruptly, the identical individuals who vowed they would inter you cannot even look you in the eye. That isn't mere chance. That is the cosmos demonstrating them as an example. And before we proceed any further, allow me to halt for a moment. If you have ever sensed this verity in your own existence, if you recognize this message is meant for you, click the like button immediately and subscribe. That simple gesture is not merely support. It is energy. It is harmony. It is reinvesting this message into the collective. Thank you for participating in this mission. Now let's resume what is transpiring, because it is more significant than vengeance, more significant than hearsay. This is conclusion delivered with exactness. See, enemies do not acknowledge boundaries when they are engrossed in their games. They believe disgrace will adhere to you indefinitely. They believe stripping away chances, undermining your advancement, or ridiculing your quiet signifies their triumph. But history disproves them on every single occasion. Reflect upon it. How many influential personalities, whether in your personal life or globally, initiated their collapse the instant they assumed they were invulnerable? The higher they ascended on falsehoods, the more devastating their crash when truth came calling. And here is the unvarnished reality. Karma does not arrive when it is convenient for you. It arrives when the enemy is at ease, when they are convinced they are secure, when they have persuaded themselves you are finished permanently. That is when the ground gives way beneath them. Perhaps you have observed it already. Individuals who attempted to shame you abruptly forfeiting their own standing. People who derided your hardship now discovering themselves pleading for compassion. It appears as misfortune to onlookers, but you and I understand it is not coincidental. That is the universe restoring equilibrium and ensuring no lesson remains unaccounted for. Let me provide you with an illustration. Recall how in the past there were invariably those who rejoiced prematurely. Consider the companion who betrayed you only to be abandoned by everyone when the lies returned to suffocate them. Or the superior who attempted to shatter your self-assurance only to wind up revealed before the very people they sought to awe. That sequence has been recurring since time began. They assume they have stolen something from you, but in actuality, they have merely exchanged their own tranquility for momentary gratification. And once the scales equalize, their arrogance transforms into their penalty. This is why I stated this variety of karma is frightening, because it doesn't simply humble, it shames. It doesn't merely take a minor thing. It removes all they presumed was impervious. Standing connections, wealth, clout. When they attempted to demolish your name, they were actually endorsing a pact with the cosmos, and the compensation is everything they believed they could not forfeit. That is why spectators observe them now and murmur, They must have interfered with the incorrect individual. Because they did, they contacted what they ought to have never touched, and chosen one. This is your moment of ascension. You do not even need to utter a syllable, because the quiet around you resonates more than any oration. You have endured the flames, and you emerged honed, serene, unshaken. They are the ones who cannot rest at night. They are the ones reliving every underhanded action they took, questioning how it all disintegrated so rapidly, and fundamentally, they recognize it is not chance. It is karma inscribed in bold characters across their existence. So prepare yourself, because the account you are going to hear is not arbitrary. It is not simply ironic. It is a disclosure. This is the cosmos demonstrating to you once more that no action taken against you goes unnoticed. This is not karma postponed. This is karma immediate and direct. The variety that frightens foes because it confirms they are not in command. And believe me, they were taught their lesson. So now let's explore this more thoroughly step by step, because what you are going to hear is not merely a tale. It is evidence that the universe does not choose sides. It operates justly. And if you have ever questioned whether your enemies genuinely sensed the burden of their actions toward you, this is where everything becomes clear. Post a comment below with the words, "Lesson learned." If you are prepared to observe how their ruin unfolded segment by segment, that is not just a moment for an emoji, it is you affirming your position in this collective truth. And listen, if you have remained with me until now, I already realize you are constructed differently. The average person would have exited by now, but you chosen one. You sense the attraction because fundamentally, you know this communication is your validation. This karma was individualized, and the particulars will sound so recognizable, it will nearly seem as if I am reciting your diary aloud. That is how exact the universe is. So fasten your seatbelt, because from this point it only becomes more startling, more irrefutable, and more gratifying. And trust me, once you listen to it all, you will never perceive karma identically again. Let's commence. Number 1. They ridiculed your scars. Now they are suffocating in their own injuries. Ironic how the most vociferous mockers are consistently the initial ones to gag on their own remedy. They did not simply scoff at you. They converted your personal agony into their public amusement. Every teardrop you shed became a joke for their diversion. They gossiped behind your back, sneered at your silence, and behaved as if your hardship was feebleness stamped upon your brow. To them, your shattered state was not hallowed. It was sport. But here is the brutal fact. While they were occupied laughing at what nearly annihilated you, they were composing their own script of ruin, and karma was silently readying the platform for their display. Let's be unequivocal, what you bore was not lightweight. The sleepless evenings, the aching heart that felt like it would implode, the instants you desired to vanish but still continued progressing, still continued inhaling. They could not have managed a fraction of it. 1 week in your footwear and they would have pleaded for leniency. Yet in place of empathy, they selected brutality. In place of encouragement, they supplied sarcasm. And in place of heeding, they converted your silence into proof against you. But silence is not feebleness. Silence is where potency cultivates roots. You were mourning. You were reconstructing. You were discovering how to continue living after existence attempted to eliminate you. Now observe the reversal. The very tempest they jeered has relocated into their dwelling. And it is not departing soon. What once provoked their laughter now induces their trembling. The heartache they joked about, it has now torn their chest open. The solitude they labeled pitiable, it is now choking them. The psychological load they assumed was imaginary. It is the initial thing crushing them when they awaken. And here is the most poetic segment. This occasion, their anguish is not confidential. It is public. People can perceive it. People can sense it. The identical group that once participated in mocking you is now murmuring behind their backs. Indeed, they are receiving precisely what they distributed. Is that not terrifying? Karma does not tap gently. It blasts the door off its hinges. It does not courteously balance the scales. It tilts them so severely that the very individuals who assumed they were immune are left scrambling on the floor. And chosen one perceives the fulfillment. You do not even need to retaliate. You do not need to reveal them. The cosmos already accomplished it for you more resonantly than you ever could. Their facade dropped, their flaws are visible, and no quantity of artificial grins can conceal it. You might question why now. Why did it require so much time for karma to complete its circuit? Because timing is everything. If the universe had penalized them too early, they would have dismissed it as misfortune. But now it is indisputable. The descent is so exact, so poetic, that even they comprehend what is transpiring. They recognize this is not random. They recognize this is the cost of ridiculing pain they never comprehended. Let me narrate a story. Years ago, there was an individual who laughed at a colleague for experiencing panic attacks, labeled them frail, labeled them theatrical, created jests at their cost. Months later, that same mocker lost their employment, their romance, and descended into the identical anxiety they once mocked. And you know what? No one in their circle provided sympathy because people recalled how callous they had been. That is the cycle. That is what invariably occurs. The laughter diminishes, the situations reverse, and suddenly the jester becomes the joke. And do not misinterpret this. This is not about retaliation. This is about revelation. The universe does not return agony to gratify you. It returns agony to educate them, to remind them that cruelty is never without cost, to remind them that mocking someone's tempest signifies you will one day drown in your own deluge. They assumed your scars diminished you. They assumed your silence signified surrender. But your scars are evidence you endured, and their silence now is proof they cannot manage what they previously found amusing. So question yourself, what is genuine weakness? Is it the person who withstood heartbreak and kept advancing? Or the person who mocked it and now cannot arise from bed? Is it the person who survived isolation and reassembled themselves from nothing? Or the person who once called you pathetic, now pleading for approval merely to feel alive? Their response is clear. The chosen one was never feeble. The chosen one was tempered in flames. And here is what renders this karma even more acute. When you suffered, you did it quietly. The majority of people were unaware of the profundity of your pain. But when they endure, it is noisy. It is apparent. It is humiliating. Their aura is disturbed. Their smiles appear strained. Their laughter has ceased. Everyone can observe the burden they are carrying, and nobody is encouraging them this time. Because here is the truth. People do not assemble around cruelty when it recoils. People withdraw, observe, and murmur. That is what occurs when you engage with fire. Chosen one, do not misinterpret this as a fluke. This is confirmation that nothing you experienced was pointless. Every teardrop you transformed into a seed sown in the soil of the universe, and now the harvest has arrived. They assumed they were mocking you, but they were actually mocking themselves in the mirror of the future. And that mirror has shattered. Their conceit has converted into cinders, and their laughter has been muted by the identical gloom they once celebrated. So let them dwell in it. Let them sample the remedy they once compelled down your throat. Because while they are drowning in their own injuries, you are ascending higher, lighter, more liberated. You no longer bear the disgrace of their ridicule. You bear the verification of your endurance. And that chosen one is the most frightening thing for them to observe. Because now they comprehend the very pain they once laughed at became the basis of your strength. And their downfall, it is not simply ironic. It is karma in its most unadulterated, most raw, most severe form. Number 2, they launched a curse and it returned like a loaded weapon they were unaware they possessed. The snares they arranged for you became the pits they are now entombed within. They were so self-assured they hurled their curses like projectiles, anticipating them to pierce you, to blemish your reputation irreparably. And when nothing affected you, when you stood more erect than previously, they alarmed. Because then everything commenced disintegrating for them. One occurrence after another, like dominoes toppling in swift sequence. The funds they boasted about disappeared suddenly. The relationships they displayed fractured like glass smashing on rock. Their serenity dissipated, and abruptly, they were existing in perpetual turmoil like each day delivered a new catastrophe. Is it not amusing how swiftly villains commence believing in karma once they are the ones hemorrhaging? Initially, they assumed it was coincidence, a string of misfortune perhaps. But when every entrance closed in their face, when their smiles became empty, when their nights became plagued with anxiety, they murmured the sole explanation their remorseful hearts could conceive. It must be you. You must have reciprocated with something. Envision that. So assured in their malice, yet so frightened when it rebounds. They whispered in corners. They conjectured. They faulted you for their suffering. Because in their perception, you could not possibly be that immune without projecting something in return. But here is the irony that incinerates them. You did not lift a finger. You did not ignite a candle, vocalize a word, or whisper their names in retribution. You did not need to. What you directed others will ultimately appear at your own entrance. It is not sorcery, it is calculation. That is how the universe functions. Their curse was not blocked by you. It was declined by the laws they assumed did not concern them. They loaded the weapon, directed it at you, and pulled the trigger only to discover the projectile circling back into their own torso. Now let me pose this to you. Why do you believe they are so suspicious now? Why do you believe they abruptly commenced searching online for safeguarding incantations, igniting sage, transporting crystals, or mumbling invocations they never previously believed in? Because they sense it. They comprehend profoundly that something fractured the moment they targeted you. Envision this. A robber breaks into a residence only to discover the door secures behind them, trapping them inside with alarms sounding. That is what occurred. They assumed they were unrestricted to sabotage you, but their own purposes confined them inside a cage of repercussions. Energy resembles a boomerang. The trajectory is invisible until it comes back and fractures your cranium. They never anticipated it arriving. They presumed karma was sluggish, like some deferred penalty that perhaps they could evade. They believed if they deceived effectively enough, if they persuaded sufficient people, if they concealed their intentions behind artificial smiles, they would escape unscathed. But energy does not react to the narrative you tell others. It reacts to the truth you hold in your heart. And their truth was toxic. It was jealousy. It was hubris. It was desperation to witness you shattered. That toxin could not locate you, so it decayed them instead. Envision this. Someone pours acid into a vessel intended for you, and consumes it themselves. That is how rapidly it reversed. They fashioned curses with such virulence that the universe had no option but to state, "Return to sender." And when it struck them, it was not gentle. It did not tap courteously. It ripped through their lives like an inferno, burning everything they presumed was safe. Their wealth vanished, their relationships disintegrated. Their stability crumbled and chosen one. Is that not the most frightening part for them? They genuinely believed you were the designer of their collapse. They assumed you must be executing something behind the scenes. Why? Because they undervalued your innocence. They did not realize that when innocence is assaulted, karma does not trickle. It explodes. It does not merely re-establish balance, it overturns the entire table. And now they are seated in debris, attempting to reassemble a puzzle they personally shattered. The curse was not yours to cast. It was theirs to bear. And here is where the inspiration emerges for you, chosen one. You did not require retaliation to prevail. You did not need to soil your hands. You simply had to continue advancing, continue inhaling, continue selecting serenity over triviality. And that is what terrifies them most, because they cannot allege you cursed them. They cannot demonstrate you counterattacked. All you accomplished was exist, and existing as yourself was adequate to reveal their darkness. Is that not power? Is that not the most satisfying triumph? Now you might be inquiring, why did it return so swiftly this occasion? Because their intentions were too concentrated, too sharp, too malicious. It condensed into a storm that could not hover in the atmosphere. It had to land, and since it could not land on you, it landed back on them. That is the segment they never anticipated. They assumed they were invincible. They assumed their hands could remain clean while their hearts remained soiled. But now they comprehend every curse has a return address, and theirs was inscribed in ink they cannot delete. Envision this. Someone shouts insults into a gorge, and the reverberation returns more resonantly than their own voice, vibrating their skeleton. That is what is happening to them. Their echo is more resonant than their original deed, and it is haunting them day and night. They walk around like specters of themselves, doubting every move, wary of everyone, paranoid of the very energy they released. And you stand erect in the aftermath, unscathed. You do not have to justify yourself. The evidence is in their collapse. The narrative speaks for itself. They desired you to bear the curse, but it became their own load to carry. And the world is observing. The identical people who once laughed with them are now murmuring, something is amiss. Ever since they targeted the chosen one, nothing has been identical. They dreaded your silence more than any incantation, because silence was the shield they could not shatter. So let them spiral, let them burn sage, let them mumble hollow invocations, let them blame you for the tempest they generated, because ultimately they know the truth. They know they cursed themselves. They know they thrust at shadows and ended up bleeding from their own blade. And that awareness, that crushing, humiliating realization is the genuine curse. They are not merely experiencing consequences. They are experiencing a mirror that displays them precisely who they are. Designers of their own ruin and chosen one. That is your victory. You did not have to combat. You did not have to raise a hand. The universe combated for you, and it combated in a manner that left no doubt. They did not merely lose. They lost command. They did not merely suffer. They suffered publicly, visibly, unquestionably. And while they falter through the debris of their own curse, you ascend untouched, radiating with confirmation that innocence is not feebleness, it is safeguard. That is the variety of karma they never anticipated, and now it is too late. Number 3, they attempted to manipulate strings. Now they are suspended by them. The falsehoods they spun became the cords constricting around their own neck. They assumed they were immune, the mastermind behind the curtain. The astute genius pulling strings while you danced in bewilderment. That is how they perceived it, smiling in your face while scripting treacheries behind your back. They were convinced they had every perspective covered, every pawn aligned, every story manipulated to perfection. To them, you were merely a token on their board, a persona in their scheme. But there is the truth they never considered. When you perform as puppet master sufficiently, the strings commence coiling around your own hands until you are the one who cannot move. Envision this, a spider weaving a web so immense it feels invincible only to become entangled in the adhesive strands itself, struggling in every trap it constructed. That is them now. Their web of falsehoods is collapsing. The people they utilized are murmuring behind their back, comparing information, connecting clues. Suddenly, the grand deception does not appear so clever anymore. It appears desperate, and the so-called genius is revealed as nothing more than a manipulator scrambling to maintain the mask in position. Manipulation is power borrowed on credit. Eventually, the invoice becomes due, and now the invoice is here. The associates they presumed were faithful. They are retreating, realizing they were merely pawns. The narratives they distorted. They are unraveling faster than they can conceal them. Every inquiry feels like a spotlight. Every discussion feels like an interrogation. That paranoia they once sowed in your life, it is their reality now. They cannot sleep without speculating who is conspiring against them. You might be questioning, why is this occurring now? Because lies have expiration dates. They do not mature gracefully. The longer they remain, the more they reek. And once people detect a scent of deceit, they commence pulling at the threads. That is precisely what is transpiring. Their web is not a fortress. It is a cage. The identical stage they built for your collapse has become the theater of their humiliation. And chosen one, here is the splendor. You did not have to reveal them. The universe did. Their insecurity has become evident. Their requirement for control has become their ruin. They are trapped in the narrative they composed, entangled in the web they wove. And this time there is no escape route. The puppet master has become the puppet jerking on the strings of dread, paranoia, and self-destruction. Number 4, they desired your ruin and concluded up inhabiting their own curse. Every curse they murmured over you was nothing but a love letter addressed back to themselves. They did not simply dislike you. They were consumed by the idea of observing you fall. Every discussion became an altar of resentment. Every late night, every idle thought, every word falling from their tongue was poisoned with fixation. They converted envy into a ritual, pleading for your collapse the manner. Some people plead for rain after a drought. They assumed it was warranted. They persuaded themselves your radiance was too brilliant, your peace too unmerited, your blessings too unjust. They desired your prosperity, but since they could not seize it, they pleaded for it to incinerate. Hatred camouflaged as prayer remains hatred, and the universe does not mistake the two. And here is the frightening truth. They genuinely believed their words carried influence against you. But the universe does not respond to names. It responds to motives. You cannot envelop a decayed heart in sacred language and anticipate it to flourish. So while they pleaded for your failure, they were not synchronizing with your downfall. They were synchronizing with their own destruction. Every bitter word was a seed, but they planted it in their own garden. And now the harvest is emerging decayed, choking their life with weeds of confusion, loss, delay, and isolation. Envision this. Someone excavating a grave for you only to slide into it themselves because the ground beneath their own feet crumbled first. That is precisely what is occurring. The very invocations they assumed would strip you are the ones stripping them. They whispered, "I hope they lose everything." And the universe responded, "Noted, you just claimed that destiny. The mirror does not lie. It simply shows them what they emitted." And now they are panicking. They are blaming misfortune. They are accusing envious companions. They are even labeling it spiritual combat. But fundamentally they know. They know those so-called prayers were not prayers at all. They were curses. Their own tongue established the trap and their own energy activated the trigger. So Chosen One, hear this. You did not have to fight. You did not have to counterattack. You remained untainted, and purity is its own shield. They are not experiencing punishment. They are experiencing reflection, and the reflection is severe. Everything they wished for you is the reality they cannot evade. Number 5. They attempted to enter you, but excavated a coffin for their own aspiration. You cannot ascend higher by severing someone else's ladder. It only leaves you abandoned where you commenced. They believed eliminating you would clear the path for their own ascent. To them, your presence was the impediment, your achievement, the shadow obstructing their shine. So they conspired. They whispered falsehoods in dark corners. They established alliances constructed on jealousy. They treated your collapse like a corporate strategy, thinking that if you fell, they would finally rise. But what they did not comprehend was this. Demolishing someone else does not construct you up. It constructs the barrier that blocks your own route. Initially, it appeared they triumphed. A little acknowledgement here, some applause there. For a moment, they believed the sabotage was effective. But success constructed on sabotage resembles a house constructed on sand. It never endures. Soon the cracks commenced appearing. Partnerships dissolved. Funds slipped through their fingers. Every chance converted to dust. And the haunting segment, nothing external induced it. This was the harvest of their own intentions. You cannot plant destruction in someone else's garden and anticipate flowers to blossom in yours. Envision this, a thief who pilfers bricks from your foundation to build their own castle, only to observe their walls disintegrate because every brick carries the burden of guilt. That is precisely what is occurring. They attempted to elevate themselves on your pain, but all they discovered was fatigue, stagnation, and paranoia. The applause ceased, the spotlight faded, and now they are left alone with the truth. They sabotaged you, but in actuality they sabotaged themselves. And here is the question that consumes them. Why does nothing adhere? Why does every scheme collapse? The answer is straightforward. Because ambition blended with hatred is poison. You cannot erase someone innocent and anticipate blessings to follow. They cursed their own path the instant they targeted yours. The cavity they excavated to bury you became the pit their own dreams are decaying within. So Chosen One, do not mistake their downfall for coincidence. This is justice unfolding. Their progress halted because their heart was contaminated. Their road paralyzed because their motives were corrupt. And now they sit in the silence of their failure, haunted by the reality that annihilating you never elevated them. It only annihilated them. Number 6, they depicted you the villain, but the mask dropped from them instead. Music. The falsehoods they narrated about you became the mirrors that revealed them. They did not simply gossip, they waged war on your character. They did not err once or twice. They constructed entire campaigns around your name. Whisper networks, group chats, late-night telephone conversations dripping with venom. They turned people against you like it was their occupation, crafting narratives that rendered you the villain in tales you were not even present to defend. And for a period, it functioned. People withdrew, companions grew remote. The atmosphere changed when you entered spaces. You sensed it. The sidelong glances, the murmurs, the quiet where amusement previously existed. Defamation campaigns always commence loudly, but truth always concludes more loudly. Here is the twist they never prepared for. Lies have short legs. They do not run far before they stumble over themselves. Over duration, the identical people who believed their stories commenced detecting patterns, the issue you supposedly represented. Somehow the accuser had that identical issue with everyone else too. The toxic designation they hurled at you, it circled back and adhered to them. Gradually their credibility fractured. No evidence was necessary, no defense was needed. The universe simply removed the layers and the mask slipped. Envision this. Someone expends years hurling mud at your wall, only to realize they are the ones standing covered in grime. That is what is happening now. The people who once looked at you with doubt are looking at you differently. Their eyes are more compassionate. Some are embarrassed. Some are remorseful. Because fundamentally they know they participated. They did not request your perspective. They did not provide you an opportunity. They simply believed the incorrect voice. Time does not merely disclose truth, it humiliates lies. And now those identical people are living with the weight of regret. They are ashamed of how readily they were manipulated. They are replaying the instance they laughed at you, doubted you, or propagated what they heard, desiring they could retract it. But you do not even require their apology. Your serenity speaks for you. Your development has become your rebuttal. So, chosen one, comprehend this. You were never the villain. You were the target. And now, the very crowd that once doubted you is realizing they wagered against the incorrect soul. Their silence now is not ignorance. It is guilt. They perceive the truth and it is suffocating them. Number 7. They laughed at your foundation. Now their foundation is fracturing beneath them. The identical mouths that mocked your struggle are now choking on their own disintegration. They did not merely witness your suffering. They celebrated it. When you were at your lowest, when heartbreak, illness, or even homelessness attempted to suffocate you, they did not provide compassion. They converted your pain into jokes. They circulated your struggles like inexpensive gossip, feigning to pity you publicly while laughing behind closed doors. Some even labeled it karma, smugly stating you received what you merited. But let's be candid, they were not celebrating justice. They were celebrating what they presumed was your conclusion. Evil does not laugh because you are feeble. It laughs because it mistakes your reset for ruin. What they never confessed is how much they envied you even at your lowest. Envision that, you shattered but still shining. Even in survival mode, you carried a presence, a resilience, a radiance they could not extinguish. That irritated their demons. Your strength in weakness was a mirror exposing their emptiness in abundance. They felt taller when you appeared small, more secure when you appeared broken. They adored the illusion of power your pain provided them. But here is the twist. They mistook preparation for penalty. While they laughed at your storm, the universe was quietly revising your story. Your suffering was shaping you, not demolishing you. And now the shift is here. Gradually, their stability is vanishing. The funds they boasted about are slipping away. The relationships they displayed are cracking under strain. Their aura feels cursed, their serenity non-existent, and the dread in their eyes. It is the identical dread they once attempted to implant in yours. They mocked your trial, forgetting trials always conclude with testimony. And you, chosen one, you recognize this pattern. You have witnessed this film before. This is not misfortune for them. This is equilibrium. The identical ones who laughed while you were tested are now revealed in their own collapse. They are pleading for healing in the silence they once mocked, exclaiming for stability in the chaos they once cheered on. The universe is not cruel. It is equitable. You did not require retaliation. You did not require curses. Their arrogance composed the conclusion for them. And now everything they constructed on your downfall is crumbling into dust. Their laughter has become silent, replaced by dread, and every brick of their artificial stability is reverting to ashes. Number 8. They attempted to perform creator. Now they are drowning insolence. When you attempt to script someone else's destiny, you erase the lines of your own. They did not simply cross you, they attempted to control you. They desired to hold the pen to your story, to dictate how far you could advance, who would stand with you, and what doors would unlock in your life. They believed if they manipulated sufficiently, whispered sufficiently, and blocked sufficiently, they could perform God in your world. They interfered with things that were not theirs to contact, moving like self-appointed gatekeepers of your path. But here is the issue with pretending to be divine. You are always exposed as human. Manipulators believe they are in control until life reminds them they were never on the throne. They did not trust the natural sequence. They did not respect alignment. They desired your journey on their conditions. They propagated falsehoods to rewrite your image. They interfered with timing that was never theirs to manage. They moved with arrogance, believing their influence could override the universe's design. And for a period, it seemed their deceptions were functioning. But destiny is not fragile. It does not bend indefinitely. Now the silence has overtaken them. Heavy, haunting silence. They pray, but nothing stirs. They inquire, but doors remain secured. They hustle, but everything slips through their hands. It is not misfortune, it is consequence. When you attempt to hijack another person's path, you forfeit your own. Envision someone obstructing the sunlight from another's garden, only to discover their own crops withering in the shade. That is their reality now. Spiritual exile, disconnected, arid. Every action feels compelled. Every scheme feels stuck. The identical pride that made them believe they could perform God is the identical pride leaving them stranded, powerless, voiceless. And the silence is not a test, it is a response. It is live stating, you attempted to control what was not yours, so now nothing responds to you. And chosen one, let this penetrate. While they stumble in silence, you are still ascending. They attempted to sit on a throne that was not theirs, and in the procedure, they lost their position in their own story. That is a loss. No manipulation can ever restore. Number 9, they nourished darkness against you. Now it is consuming them from the interior. The demons they unleashed did not locate you. They located their master. They did not simply envy you. They did not simply gossip. They crossed the boundary into obsession so profound, it decayed their soul. When falsehoods failed and sabotage did not shatter you, they reached for something darker. They ignited candles in secret. They murmured your name into rituals. Some compensated for spells, readings, curses, whatever they believed could obstruct your blessings or bend your path. Others performed it themselves, scribbling petitions against your life, invoking forces they did not even comprehend. In their arrogance, they believed engaging with shadows would erase your light. Dark energy resembles fire. Whoever engages with it will ultimately get scorched. And for armament, it appeared they triumphed. Perhaps you felt depleted. Perhaps your sleep was restless, your spirit heavy, your path full of peculiar setbacks. You could not explain the abrupt burden, the unexplained losses, the chaos that did not make sense. But what they did not know is that your safeguard operates deeper than their malice. Their darkness could brush against you, but it could never consume you. So the energy circled. It searched for weakness. Finding none, it turned back home with interest. Now they are unraveling. Their nights are haunted by shadows. Their residences do not feel safe. Their minds are restless, paranoid, plagued with breakdowns they cannot explain. They are flinching at whispers in vacant rooms, carrying fear in their heart that will not permit them to breathe. The identical forces they summoned for power are now their jailers, refusing to depart. This is not imagination. It's infestation. When you unlock doors through hate, you do not control who walks through them. That is the truth they never comprehended. Spiritual law does not bend for envy. You cannot dispatch destruction without eventually sitting at the identical table you arranged. And now the banquet is theirs to consume. Dread, sickness, chaos, mental torment. No sage can cleanse it. No crystal can contain it. They have bound themselves to the very energy they believed would annihilate you. And chosen one, this is not your doing. This is their selection echoing back. They disregarded every warning, every whisper of conscience, every sign instructing them to cease. They pursued a false victory, and now they are captives of the very darkness they employed. Their downfall is not random. It's reimbursement. Number 10. They mocked your quiet. Now your radiance has blinded them. Silence is not feebleness. It is the sound of someone reloading. They assumed your meekness signified you had no fight. They misinterpreted your humility for fear. The manner you selected peace over drama. The manner you departed instead of counterattacking. The manner you remained calm while your name was dragged. They presumed it signified you were powerless. To them, your silence was surrender. Your patience was proof you were terminated. But silence is not surrender. It is strategy. Never mistake still waters for shallow ones. The depth will drown you. While they laughed at your quiet, you were constructing. While they mocked your absence, you were recuperating. Day by day, you stitched wounds they believed would leave you scarred permanently. You processed pain they anticipated would turn you bitter. You selected growth where they expected ruin. And now you are glowing. Not the variety of glow they can imitate with filters or artificial smiles, but a glow that originates from resilience, from survival, from serenity they cannot purchase or fake. And it terrifies them. They observe you online and your joy stings their spirit. They hear your name and it tastes like guilt in their mouth. When they pass you, they feel judgment radiating from your presence. Not because you judge them, but because you exist as living confirmation that their hate was unsuccessful. The light they attempted to extinguish became the fire that incinerates their illusions. You are their penalty. Every smile you flash, every victory you claim, every ounce of peace you radiate, it all reminds them that they lost. You are immune now, and that disturbs them more than if you had counterattacked, because you did not have to smear them. You did not have to retaliate. You did not have to soil your hands. And yet you are winning. Their greatest dread is not that you survived. It is that you ascended higher than ever without them. Every time they observe your glow, it exposes their failure. Every time they observe you thrive, it confirms their hate possessed no power. And that is the most cruel twist of all. The feeble one they laughed at became the unstoppable force they never anticipated. Number 11, they stole from your soul. Now their sanity is slipping away. When you rob a pure heart, the price is not paid in currency. It is paid in peace. They did not merely injure you. They trespassed somewhere sacred. They seized your trust and distorted it. They fed off your kindness while mocking it privately. They utilized your loyalty like a blade and incised you with it. What they stole was not material. It was a fragment of your soul, your innocence, your vulnerability, that unguarded portion of you that believed in them. And when they were finished, they abandoned you to drown in silence, confusion, and heartbreak, behaving as if they had departed clean. But nothing about their escape was clean. The universe does not permit theft of the soul to slide. What they believed was victory became the seed of their unraveling. Initially it was subtle. Their joy did not feel as bright. Their timing felt off. Life lost its natural rhythm. But soon the cracks widened. Their sleep grew restless. Their thoughts became heavy. Their spirit turned cloudy. They could not explain it, but everything commenced feeling more difficult than previously. You cannot tear pages from someone else's story without losing chapters in your own. Now their life feels like a haunted maze surrounded by people yet more isolated than ever, pursuing pleasures that no longer satisfy, chasing after distractions, but discovering only emptiness. Even victories feel hollow because deep inside they know something valuable is absent. They believed they could take from you and proceed, but they did not realize the soul keeps score. Envision someone stealing the sun from another's sky only to awaken and realize their own world has dimmed. That is their reality now. They lost more than your presence. They lost the version of themselves that only existed when you were in their life. The cost of betraying a pure soul is sanity itself. Chosen one, remember this. You may have been wounded, but you were not demolished. They took from you, yes, but the universe ensured they paid the price, and while you reconstruct, they wander through the ruins of their own mind, burdened by the awareness that what they lost can never return. That is the genuine penalty. Number 12. They attempted to bury truth, but time transformed into a loudspeaker. Lies may sprint for a season, but truth always owns the finish line. They believed time would conceal their tracks, that if they remained quiet sufficiently, smiled broadly sufficiently, and stayed proximate to the appropriate people, their betrayal would fade into history. They relied on your silence being the cement that sealed their falsehoods. To them, time was their ally, a shield that would enter what they did to you under layers of distraction and distance. But here is the twist. They never anticipated arriving. Time is not neutral. Time does not protect lies. Time exposes them. Gradually, cracks commenced forming. Not because you spoke, but because deception always seeps. Their mask grew heavy. Their rehearsed narratives commenced faltering. People commenced detecting the inconsistencies, the strain in their tone, the manner their presence felt off. Truth does not require your defense. It merely requires patience. Initially, it was subtle, a glance here, a shift in energy there. Companions who once championed them commenced retreating. Whispers replaced applause. Their name once welcomed now left a bitter taste. What they believed would fade with time, instead, grew more resonant, sharper, undeniable. Time had become the truth's microphone, amplifying every fracture in their facade. Envision someone burying dynamite in the soil, believing it would remain concealed, only for time itself to ignite the fuse. That is what is occurring. Every passing day makes the truth more challenging to disregard, more challenging to deny, more challenging to escape. Their reputation is unraveling thread by thread. Their charm feels compelled, their influence hollow. Even strangers sense the misalignment in their spirit. You can fake smiles, but you cannot fake energy. And energy never lies. Now they are suffocating under their own performance, not because you reveal them, but because truth refuses to stay interred. Time has turned against them. What once felt like safety is now every instrument dismantling their image. And here is the most cruel irony. They believed silence would safeguard them, but silence became their executioner. Chosen one, let this be your reminder. You never required retaliation. Time itself was operating in your favor. Lies decay in the dark, but truth breathes forever. And now the clock that once comforted them is the identical clock counting down their exposure. Number 13, they attempted to erase you, but life designated you for royalty. They interred your name in whispers, but the crown was already awaiting on your head. They did not simply dislike you. They waged war on your existence. Every rumor, every artificial display of sympathy, every crocodile tear was part of a coordinated campaign to make you vanish. Group chats full of falsehoods, side conversations dripping with poison, smiles publicly, daggers privately. Their objective was not disagreement. It was eraser. They desired you forgotten, irrelevant, erased from your own story. But here is the truth they could not manage. You were never selected by them, so you could never be dismissed by them. Your value was never available for their vote. Your presence did not depend on their applause. Your light was not powered by their acceptance. That is why their tactics failed. They believed they could cancel you, but all they accomplished was confirm your importance. Purpose cannot be interred. It only grows more robust under the weight of soil. And now the reversal is on full exhibition. Their once resonant lives are dimming. The praise they lived for has become silent, replaced by whispers of suspicion. Every rooms they believed they owned are quietly pushing them out. Meanwhile, you, yes, the one they conspired to erase, are entering rooms they swore would never know your name. Not by force, not by manipulation, by alignment, by justice. Envision this. They slammed doors in your face only to discover those identical doors unlocking for you with no exertion at all. That is the power of life's balance. They desired you small, but life positioned you high. They desired you silenced, but your name carries further than their falsehoods ever could. They desired you gone, but now every attempt to erase you has recoiled into evidence of your endurance. When life decides to crown someone, no defamation campaign can dethrone them. Chosen one, comprehend this. They did not fail because they were feeble. They failed because you are unerasable. They underestimated alignment, underestimated resilience, underestimated how truth always resurrects. And now you are ascending, crowned not by their approval, but by the justice of the universe itself. Your glow is more resonant than their gossip, and your victory is more substantial than their schemes. They desired you erased. Instead, you were crowned, and that crown is the confirmation that no weapon formed against you was ever potent enough to win. Number 14. They mocked the incorrect soul. Now their prayers echo in silence. The laugh they directed at you was the seed of their own downfall. They believed you were merely another target, merely another name to drag through the grime, another shattered soul to laugh at. But they miscalculated. They mocked the incorrect one. They did not realize your story was safeguarded, your path aligned, your battles recorded in ways they could not begin to comprehend. They believed they were clever. The sidelong glances, the jests, the casual cruelty circulated like entertainment. But cruelty is not clever. It is a test. And they failed. Now their mockery has converted into a prison. Every cruel word they once tossed so readily now echoes back in their own reality. Doors that previously swung open have slammed shut. Opportunities slip through their fingers. Their minds are heavy, their energy feels cursed. And when they finally bow their head in desperation, all they hear is silence. The cost of dishonor is not thunder, it is absence. That silence is more resonant than penalty. It is not retaliation, it is correction. A divine timeout. They did not merely mistreat a person, they mishandled a sacred test. Where they could have selected humility, they selected pride. Where they could have offered mercy, they selected mockery. And now, they are living in the consequence of their own arrogance. Envision someone laughing so resonantly at another's storm that they do not notice the flood rising at their own feet. That is their reality. Their victories feel vacant. Their applause feels hollow. Even in rooms full of people, they feel utterly alone because fundamentally they know. They recall the precise moment they selected to laugh at you, blind to the fact they were laughing at their own collapse. The joke always turns most cruel on the one who initiated it. And you were never the fool, you were their veiler. Their treatment of you exposed the cracks in their character, and now life has magnified those cracks into chasms. While they drown in shadows they summoned, you ascend in a light they cannot touch. Your crown was not given by man. It was forged in fire, protected by purpose, and placed where no smear campaign could reach. This is not a comeback. This is justice in real time. The identical ones who once mocked your fall are now haunted by your rise. Let them sit in the silence they created. You continue glowing, continue ascending, continue advancing forward, because their laughter composed their conclusion, and your resilience composed your reign. And so, chosen ones, this is where the circle concludes. Every scheme, every falsehood, every laugh, they all returned home to the ones who initiated them. What felt like your conclusion was only the setup for their exposure and your ascent. This is confirmation that justice is not deferred. It is inevitable. And now your glow is the testimony they cannot erase. If this message resonated with you, press like, select subscribe, and post the number 77 in the comments to declare your alignment. Share this with someone who requires to hear it, because truth, this sharp, merits to propagate.